My name is Joe. I am from the Order. I was born and raised there for 20 years. I left 8 years ago, mostly in Taylorsville. I was not married. I left the Order and I wasn't married. I was 20 years old and I had no kids, and I still don't have any kids, and I'm still not married. Wait. Yeah, so I grew up in the Order, and partly the reason I left is because of the things that happened with my mom and the way that was handled. Um, they wanted things to go against with what my mom wanted as far as inheritance and things like that. And then also it's because I believed in magic and I questioned everything, and it led me to start questioning. And so I really enjoyed magic. So magic has helped me go on that path, as well as the way things were handled made me really question things. There's a couple things that happened with my mom. So the first thing is they were telling us that she was going to make it, and they had her on this plan that wasn't going to work. And it felt like I was the only one that knew out of the people that was around me that knew it wasn't going to work. But, and also there was, like, if you wanted anything, you have to buy it. There was no inheritance. But that's not what my mom wanted. If that's what my mom wanted, I would have been okay with that. But she wrote on her will that she wanted something different. And so I'm not going to support that type of thing if that's not what my mom wanted. So that's kind of led me to my dad being like, hey, you don't like this, you don't support it, you got to leave. And that's when I met my sister. Well, I went over to my sister's house and I was like, hey, can I live here? Well, because my dad kicked me out. And my dad took an inventory of all of her stuff. All of her stuff, my dad took an inventory and was like, and even things that isn't even worth anything. My dad was like, hey, this might be worth something to you. However, if you want it, you have to buy it. And the way they figure out the value of that type of stuff is they go on KSL and see what it's worth. And even if it's worth $5, they're like, no, you can't have it. You have to pay $5. And I'm like, this doesn't even make any sense. Also, this isn't what my mom wanted. So whether it makes sense or not, this isn't what my mom wanted. So I'm not going to agree with this. But there was another thing. There was a life insurance policy. I haven't talked a lot about this before in the past, but there was a life insurance policy, and because I wasn't like comfortable talking about this, but now it's been enough time. But there was this life insurance policy where there was, well, that my mom had, but she didn't fill it out correctly, so it was considered fraudulent, right? So there wasn't a payout, but the leader, my dad, and people in the Order thought there was going to be a payout, and my mom listed her kids as the beneficiaries. And so my dad comes to us kids and says, hey, when that pays out, you have to pay that to us. You have to give it to us. Even though, yes, your mom put you as a beneficiary, you got to pay it to us. And so obviously that wasn't going to work. So at that point, I started talking to my brothers and sisters, and I was like, hey, this isn't right. I wouldn't say it directly to my dad, but I said it to my brothers and sisters privately. And the word went back to my dad, and he told me I need to go live somewhere else. I'm a bad influence. I cannot live here. And so I went to my sister, who has left before me, and asked if I can live with her. And also part of it is I couldn't ever forgive him. So like there was a large part of me that was like, for the first at least 9 months, maybe a little bit longer, like a large part of me was like very tempted to go back to the Order, because that's where my family was. That's where my support system was that I was used to. But when I saw Daniel, I would think about this, and I couldn't get over it. So I knew it wasn't going to work. My dad had 14 wives and about 150 to 160 kids. Something. Yeah. More than 150.
I thought last I counted there was.
I think it's more than 150. I think that's easy to see, but yeah. Yeah. At least 200, maybe 1,000. Yeah. So I went to the University of Utah and I studied finance and I got a minor in math. Couple reasons I did that. First is because, when you first left, the only thing people would tell me is that you have to go to school. And I agree with that. Education is important. And so I went and got a degree in finance. And then also it's because I had a passion for magic, but doing magic is tough to make a living. So backup plan was to go to school and study finance. And magic has helped me get through some of the hardest times of my life and helped me question the order. And so I am excited to announce, but I have a magic show coming up on June 8th at the Depot in Salt Lake City. It's downtown at the Gateway, if anyone knows that location, but it's at the Depot. It's called the Magic Music Show. We're going to have musicians and magic. It's going to be a combination with music as well as magic. And so we hope to see you there. It's June 8th. So remember to look it up on Google, the Magic Music Show. You can purchase tickets at theticketmaster.com. But if you Google the Magic Music Show, or if you go to ticketmaster.com and search Magic Music Show, you'll find it. So it's 1,200 people is the capacity. So we're hoping to fill up the whole venue. 1,200 people is the capacity. And so, but if any of you have been to the Depot, it's a great venue, great sound. And so, my first show was 200 people. And then now we're trying to go from 12 to 1,200. The first show was just after I graduated. I graduated in 2018. I was like, you know what, for a celebration, I want to put on a show. And we got to a venue that was 200 people. We filled it up. And then I was going to do another one in 2020. However, the virus was a spread, and we had to cancel that. And so I was like, just working from home this whole time. And I was like, I got to do something. And so I was like, I got to revisit this. So some of the artists we're going to be having at the show is Macy Kate. And this is someone that I was introduced to just before I left the order. My little brother showed me this artist on YouTube, and she was performing in a talent show, and she was doing extremely well. And her performance was really good. And so she was like, wow, look at how good she's doing and all this stuff. And I was like, wow, that's pretty good. And then now I asked her if she can perform at the show, and she agreed. So it's really mind-blowing to me that, full circle situation that 9 years ago I was in the order thinking, hey, talking to my brother about this artist, and now we're going to be sharing the same stage. So it's really crazy to me that this is, where life has taken us. But we're excited if you guys can all come and enjoy this event with us. It's going to be just for fun. The goal is to just have fun. So hope to see you all there. So ever since I left the order, I've always tried to do something that was important to me, something that I considered ambitious, and something that really gets me to remember, where I came from. So in 2018, I graduated from college. And then in 2019, I had to do something. And so I bought my first house. And then in 2020, I was like, okay, what's for 2020? And so 2020 was, I first started getting into investing into the stocks. And then in 2021, I was like, hey, what's for 2021? And that's when I came up with buying my second house. And so every year I just try to come up with another thing. So then 2023, I bought a restaurant. And so that is called Sumo Sushi and Sandwich. And it's in Salt Lake. So if you can Google that, we'd love to have you as a customer as well at Sumo Sushi and Sandwich. We make sushi. We have rice bowls. We have burgers as well, in case you don't like sushi. And then in 2024, this year, my goal is to put on a magic show and revisit when I was a child and revisit that side of my life. So that's kind of what drives me to do different things. Is every year I try to think, hey, what can I do this year? If I can just come up with one thing that I could do. So the one reason why I like to have a goal per year is because where I grew up, you weren't allowed to have goals. You have to follow in line, and your life is set up for you, and you're required to work where they want. You're required to give your time, your everything that you are to the order. And it was really difficult for me to do that, because I think the most valuable thing that any of us have is our freedom and being able to choose what we want to do. And so that is just kind of reminds me every year that, hey, I get to choose what I'm doing with my life. And if I can come up with one thing that I can choose to work towards this year, that makes me remember that. That's kind of what drives me. But yeah, I think the most important thing is freedom and being able to choose what you want to do, whether it's a success or not, right? Just being able to choose is what I think matters. I am very, very happy that some of these things have worked out for me. And I feel very, very honored, and that I can wake up each day and decide, hey, I want to work on this. And so life has been very good to me, I feel like, and I have a lot of people to thank for that. My sister has taken me in when I needed help. I also met a family who helped me out when I needed help and helped me get through college. And so they took me in and they play that mom and dad role. They didn't technically adopt me, but I consider them my adopted parents. I go visit them for the holidays. Because holidays can get very lonely if you don't have that. So I'm very lucky with the situation I'm in now. Thanks.